I just saved $300,000 this month after working only 2 years in my full-time job. Here's how I did it with minimal side hustles and saving above 90% of my salary. The story begins in 2016, where I just finished junior college and was waiting for national service to start. My dad told me to do a part-time job to earn some money and gain my first ever working experience. It was a retail job in a clothing store. There weren't many customers, so I just stood and waited and talked with my colleagues until customers came. It absolutely sucked the life out of me. That made me worried about how working life would be after graduating from university next time. I knew then that I should save and invest as much money as I could so that I could escape the rat race as soon as possible. That was the catalyst that drove the extreme frugalness in me. To be honest, I don't even remember how much I earned during that retail job, probably just above $1,000 for 2 months, but I definitely saved almost all of that money. So I entered national service with the goal of saving and investing whatever army allowance I got. As a recruit, the allowance was around $400 a month, an OCS cadet around $800, and an officer $1,200 a month. I didn't keep track of what I spent during my army days, but I probably saved over 90% of my army allowance as well. So I estimate I got around 20k over the 2 years from army. So when I finished army, the rest of my peers went for overseas holidays as a celebration for completing army, but I stayed at home. My mom taught me some principles of investing and suggested that I put some money in our local banks like DBS and OCBC. On hindsight, I should have put more money in them as they have grown quite a lot now. After army was university. I didn't have to pay any university tuition fees as I got a scholarship, and I also didn't go for overseas exchange either because I hear my seniors spending 10k to 15k on a 3-month exchange program. My dad still provided me with a university allowance of $50 a month for food and transport, and sometimes he would forget to give me the $50 because we would both forget to remind each other. He knew I didn't spend the money anyway. I didn't need money for transport to school because I would cycle my bike to school every day, which saved about $50 a month. I didn't eat in school either. I planned my lectures in the morning so I could go home and eat lunch after class, or plan my lessons after lunch so that I could eat lunch at home and then go to class in the afternoon. So out of the 3 years in university, I can only recall eating at the canteen twice. And yes, I completed a 4-year course in 3 years because I probably watched too many motivational videos. Just kidding. But it felt good that my career was ahead of my peers by 1 year. I didn't score A's in university, I played too much and studied the bare minimum and got mostly B's. But surprisingly never C's. If you ask me should I have done 4 years, I would say nah. 3 years of studying computer science is really enough for me. I spent my non-studying hours doing CCA and I was so busy until I had no time to spend money. And while I was studying, I was doing photography as a side hustle. At its peak, I was doing about 2 to 3 jobs a month and charged $50 per hour including editing. It was only enough to cover the cost of the camera and lenses. So the side hustle didn't really help me attain 300k by 25. I graduated in April 2021 and I started working 4 months later in August. That was still in the midst of the COVID pandemic, and that meant I never stepped foot into the office besides the day I collected my work computer. My starting pay was $5,960 a month, including CPF. I was already calculating when I could retire if I invested my entire salary in stocks. I invested majority of my salary in dividend stocks, which brought around 4 to 5%, and I would reinvest the dividends as well. If you're interested to know how close I am to retirement, I made a video about it too. After a year of working, I reached over $100,000 in my stock portfolio, and it was giving me about $300 dividends on average per month. I came across this quote from Kevin Learns Investing recently. He says to smash the like button and subscribe. But he also says the more money I earn, the more money I earn. And that's what's happening with my dividend income. In 2023, my salary increased to $6,500, meaning $7,600 including employer contribution to my CPF. I also got a healthy sum of bonuses, which was about 3 months of salary. We also started to go back to the office twice a week, so I had to pack food from home. But nowadays, there is free flow snacks at the company's pantry, and that's more than enough to make me full. Just last month in October, I had 219k invested in my stock portfolio. The portfolio currently has 20,000 unrealized loss, but that's expected since Singapore stocks are super low now. But all that matters is that dividends are still coming into my pocket. That's why I prefer buying dividend stocks instead of growth stocks. I have just over $78,000 in my CPF, and I also have 2,700 uninvested yet. So the total becomes $300,050. So on the day I crossed $300,000, I rewarded myself by buying an M1 MacBook Air for $550, which was a steal because other MacBook Air M1s are still selling for $750 secondhand. So I saved $200 right there. I needed a computer because so far I have been editing these videos on my work computer. Because of that MacBook, right now I only have $299,500. So this video is entirely clickbait and a huge lie. Don't worry, I just finished my IPPT, so I'll be getting another $500 from the government, which will bring that back up to $300,000 again. So, my formula to get 300k by 25 is 1. Get a high paying job and save almost everything. 2. Don't have a girlfriend. 3. Cut the expenses that you cannot sell again, like food and transport, by eating at home, pack your meals to work, and cycle everywhere you can. 4th, subscribe to my channel. 5th, live with your parents. Number 6 is to plan your days with so much activities until you have no time to go shopping. And if you can, try to start some side hustles as well. Remember that money is worth so much more when you are young because every cent you save now has a longer time to compound. So when I buy things, I sometimes think of the price as 20 times the price to see if it's worth buying or not. If you want to know how I spend less than 5% of my monthly salary, you can watch this video here.